special day and night. Colors explode with each new design. In Drive or Draw, it's always fine. Drive or Draw, let your imagination soar. Drive or Draw, bring art to every door. No need to be perfect, just have some fun. Drive or Draw for everyone. So grab a brush or a pen or a crayon. Make a mark any way you can. In this world of shapes and lines, we'll see creativity shine. Drive or Draw, let your imagination soar. Drive or Draw, bring art to every door. No need to be perfect, just have some fun. Drive or Draw for everyone.
And we are live. I think everybody joining in tonight as we have a delayed Drive or Draw. Normally we do these on Tuesday nights, but thanks to a nasty storm that moved through, blew out my power about a couple times, and literally shook the house, shook the place entirely by just the lightning strikes. We're going to be doing some art today. We're going to be talking about doing art, as I have entered into, and this was not, unheard of. We entered into Clip Paint Studios art contest. This is my second entry into them with a comic contest. The first one we entered in with Demon Blade, because there was no restrictions on what was putting in. But this is their second one, and the theme was it had to be about first love, and it had to be an original concept. It had to be drawn out, and we had 8 to 16 pages requirement. So it had to be either 8 or 16 with a cover. And that's what we did. So over the last few weeks, you guys probably have seen me do it live on stream. And for those who don't know, it is called Love Potion Lament. So I'm going to even bring up the cover here from it so you guys can see. And I'll be showing the, well, what the heck am I? Let's go to the top, because I have it in the top. So, Love Potion Lament, and why am I not seeing it? Okay, come in. Properties. That's why, because I did not set it up properly. There we go. Love Potion Lament, it's out now. It's specifically being released with Manga Draft. Now, most people, you may not know Manga Draft because they're French. But they also host English manga and webtoons. I don't know if they're like the third or fourth company to webtoons or tapas. It's out there. But yeah, this is my original series, Love Potion Lament. We tell the prequel to Witchin', which is what we are drawing today. So you're going to be seeing me draw pages of Witchin', and the main character in Love Potion Lament is a character that hasn't appeared yet in Witchin', but it does feature Theodore, who is the main character of Witchin'. They disguise themselves as a girl to go to college because their dad didn't approve, hey, we're not going to do this. So they went undercover, took a new name, changed their look, and literally that's the story of Witchin'. It's pretty much this young it's a young mage who turned himself into a witch and deals with the repercussions of them. It's a comedy series. You have a lot of situations being put together, like the family he disguised himself as, he thought he could get away with. Last chapter, it was discovered, no, that they are not completely fine with it. That they may have to force them to make a deal that they had 4 years to become the top-ranking mage in the world. Now, the family doesn't know they don't know that the main character is gender bent. They don't know. I mean, the only people that really know that are their um, their teacher. Well, I mean, I guess be more like their boss for their job, who is a fellow witch that took them in to try and train them, and their roommate. And so we have this unique little sort of story that is pretty much comedic in all nature. Tells the story of, dealing with finding yourself, pretty much. And a lot of that is what the story of witching is about. And Love Potion Lament, though, it's not about finding yourself, although that is where the story kind of ends. It's very much about, the main character, in that case, Ryland, accepting that they love Theodore and that if they want to pursue this, they need to put in the effort. While Theodore is all intention going to become, a black robe in the sense, and we go through the concept of the light spectrum with the ranks of mages. And so in Witchin', Theodore, at this point in the comic, well, at the point of Love Potion Lament at the end, Theodore and Ryland are green robes, but technically Theodore's a teal robe. But they start out as white robes. It literally shows the first day of them. It's meeting. And it's a nice little silly love story. That's all it is. I mean, it's not my favorite work, but I mean, it is enjoyable to put together and whatnot. The only reason I chose that over my original plan for this contest was because I couldn't show blood or gore. It couldn't be violent, couldn't have any blood or gore. And the story I intended to do was retelling the Demon Blade story from chapter 5 and a little prequel of chapter 11 and 12 a little bit. Mind you, 12 isn't even out and we're still working on 11. But in that case, it's a very deep love the two characters have. But their meeting was very, well, I mean, it wasn't their meeting, but their moment of really defining their love was in a violent situation. So I was like, I need to do something a little less violent. So we were going to do Love Potion Lament. I meant introducing audiences to Ryland for the first time that talk or that follow Witchin'. And it meant drawing out characters, drawing out places that I have never drawn before. So I had essentially 2 months to do this. And some people would be like, oh, well, that's a lot of time. Well, I planned to be done initially by the end of May and not by the end of June. And the problem came up, and this is something I'm currently even dealing with. I've got a brace on as I draw today. I developed carpal tunnel for the first time in my life, and it was pretty severe, so I had to spend about 2 weeks with complete brace. And now I'm out of that complete brace. I'm, having to brace it in different ways, and particularly only when it acts up. So right now, I've got my hand banded up for my drawing hand, but it's in a looser brace, so it doesn't really interfere with drawing. So I can draw, and it doesn't get in the way. But when I talk about, what it takes to draw a comic, and for those that don't know, this is not the first time I try to do a rush job on a comic. And it's what really wasn't a rush job. This was, I had ample time to create this and whatnot. But the last time I tried to draw a comic in time for something, I gave myself a week to draw a comic. Full 16-page comic. And we did it. We did it. Um, it basically, I slept probably 12 to 13 hours that entire week. From Sunday to Monday. That kind, or not Sunday to Monday, Monday to Sunday. So, I mean, 7 days a week, very, very little sleep, drawing all nonstop, and trying to put together a comic from writing the script to publishing it. In this case, we had ample time to do it, but I still kind of messed with the script. It's when you're telling a story completely original on your own, it's kind of like, hey, what will work, what won't work. And with Love Potion Lament, there were some scenes that had to be changed, some things that didn't work out, and I was like, oh, I can't give up precious pages for this event, and I need to make, the key characters flow and be understood, and that is way too weird to have that eye shape. Alright. So, that's what I had to do when I told the story. And to tell a story that, I think the eyelash is too bad, too. Alright. To tell the story of the two falling in love, well, one falling in love with the other one. Because it's very much a one-sided love story. But that's okay, because it's about first love, not about, falling in love, but first love. And when I told, I'm just having a serious time with the eye here. When I wrote the story, I was like, okay, well, I need to tell, I need to introduce the characters from the get-go. So the audience needs to know the characters. They need to understand the world in simple sense. So I have to explain, okay, this is not, a world that most people, would go out and see these days. It'd be different than what it is, but here's how it's different. And it's very important to kind of build that up early when you're telling it, but not get preachy about it. So not be like, oh, all this great details of amazing in the world, blah, 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 blah. Simplify it. And keep in mind the main point of the story is to tell a lesson or a point. And in this case, it was to tell a story about, understanding what love is and what one has to go through to make love last. Make what they feel, admit who they love, and all that kind of stuff. It's not about, hey, we gotta force this person to love me, because it's literally a story about one-sided love in this sense. But I don't think I want to do that smile. She's not having a good day in this point in the comic. But she is going to be explaining it to her friend. And I mean, this chapter of Witchin' is going to be very heavily dense, introducing a few characters. So I mean, it's when I write a story, I give myself about 2 days to work on a script. And then I will sit there and I will sketch out the idea of the comic. Sometimes I'll go through and I'll sketch out the entire comic. And that can take me anywhere from 1 day to a week to sketch out. And even still, I might change the concept. I might change what the panel is going to be, how it looks and whatnot. It's going to depend on multiple elements. So in this case, in this page that you're seeing me put together, this has been planned for a couple months. I had an idea of what this was, but the concept of this talk, this interview between, it's not really an interview, this conversation between a new friend that they made about a week ago in the story, and them going into the first day of these classes, and the main character, Theodore, who's dressed as Ida, or who goes by Ida in the comic for the most part, they're having to deal with a world that doesn't like not just witches, but some people that just don't like her. And because they're like, oh, it's a Wansdale, and the Wansdales are like this snooty, richy, upper class concept of witches in the story. And so she's having to deal with that, and this very scene is sort of two parts. There's literally a changeover from one room to where she's being sort of like devastated by her class because her way of thinking and everything that she's been taught, it's different than what the world teaches. And so it's like the two different worlds. You have the magic people, and then you have the normal people who are called the tech-born, because they use technology and whatnot. They don't rely on magic. That's how they accomplish things. So in that concept, there's a different way of teaching in both sort of environments. So the witches, teach based off of what magical elements they understand and have studied throughout the years. And in the case of, the tech-born, it's the scientific method. And so you have the sort of magic and science confliction going on in this story. And that's what's happening in the top of this page. In the bottom of this page is they're going into a class that's about the world history. One, it's going to give me a chance to do some lore dump about the world to the audience for the first time. And two, it gives me a chance to run a gag because the person in charge of this history class in charge of this class is a dark elf that was assigned to her by the family they're going by. So this is basically her guardian, and he's doing it in a disguise where basically, I can't really explain it without explaining the joke before it releases. They wear this disguise, which is this stupid, typical, plastic mustache glasses disguise, but the magical element of it is if no one knows they're in disguise, they see what they want to see in that teacher. So we're literally going to hear everybody else in the group or in this classroom basically be like, oh, what do you mean? They look this way, this way. And so the teacher's never going to look the same to all these people. But the main character knows who they are because she deals with them. So all she sees is this idiot in a freaking joke glasses, standing in front of instead of in front of a crowd, basically teaching them history. And it's like, great. So it's dumb crap like that you kind of got to give away the telling. And when you draw it out, you gotta play things out, and whether or not the comedy is working or whatnot, you never know until it lands. Sometimes it lands, sometimes the jokes just fly by people. I literally had a joke in one comic I published recently that had a penis joke in it, and a person later was like, I don't understand, what are they threatening to cut off? And and the joke is, seriously, you don't know? And I only replied by putting up a GIF from Austin Powers about the whole penis gag from Austin Powers GIF. And so it's like, that's the only way to really tell it to that person, because it flew by them what the joke was. But yeah, when I went about doing the contest, I gave myself, in this case, I literally sat down and typed up the story in a day. Actually in about 2 to 3 hours. So I worked out the story, worked out the dialogue, worked out the scenario, And there were certain things I didn't draw, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna do this one scene, which was supposed to have them being punished by the principal, and for what happens at the beginning of the comic of Last Potion of Lament, which is they explode the potion slab. So in order to sort of tell this story, is like, well, I really don't need to spend all this time with the world building with the principal. That's one section I didn't need to hold on to. So I simplified it. I never even named the teacher in the series. And technically you don't know two other characters, but one of them has a prominent role and one will have a semi-prominent role in the future. And that is Theodore's father is in the series. Technically his brother is too. But you see them in the comic. But you also see Ryland's mother, and I came up with Ryland's mother on the spot from drawing her. I knew I was going to have this scene where she was going to be sort of explaining to her son that, you know, hey, get your butt up because I've got to leave for work and I got to take the broom. And so it was one of those situations where it's like the parent has to, you know, is trying to get their child up for that. And it's mainly as a joke. But I drew her, and I came up with such a backstory. It's like, now I gotta put her in Witchin. So now she's gotta appear. Because it's just too enjoyable for the character. And I need to open a page with the friend. Actually, it's probably better to do this page. Okay, she's got square glasses. So that's what I'm doing wrong. You can see what we're going to be drawing later. As per request. Alright, so square glasses. Square glasses. So let's fix that. I very much based the character off of Velma Dinkley. I very much did. Because she's supposed to be sort of this nerdy sort of friend that's kind of mousy and shy a little bit, so I wanted to give it, you know, that concept. And it's like I absolutely want her to be a redhead and have Irish background for her. So that's pretty much what Bridget is, and that's the name of the main or of the friend in the series. So you have two friends, the roommate of Abigail, or of Ida, who's Abigail, goes by Abby in the series, who loves chaos, should have graduated, you know, 5-6 years ago, but is avoiding the situation, avoiding graduating for some reason, and because of her actions, she's, you know, this rambunctious roommate here that Ida has to deal with, but also a co-worker because she also works at Juan's, which is the restaurant where Ida has to work. But Bridget is supposed to be, you know, child or the friend, same age friend that they can confide in and have a relationship with as, you know, besties. And so I'm trying to, you know, very much focus more on Bridget this time, so we're not going to really see much of Abigail in this chapter. She'll come in the end, but you're not going to see too much of her. But Abigail's just that sort of pure element of chaos in the story. So I just be like, okay, I'm going to draw her. She's going to come in. She's doing something silly. I mean, she was introduced with a horse head on, with a lightsaber and a bat cape, you know, alright? Batman cape type thing. And the nature of them was very, you know, hey, I'm gonna confuse the hell out of people, but that's what I like to do. I like to see the humor and enjoy things. That's Abigail's personality. Ida, and therefore Theodore, and what's been sort of added to the concept in Witchin from Love Potion Lament, because it's the prequel, Um, Ida is very caring, but at the same time, very self-absorbed. They're oblivious to the world around them. A lot of situations, they kind of just like 1 point forward. That's it, kind of scenario, which gets them in trouble. I mean, essentially, they're like, oh, well, how I can solve this problem is by doing this, or how I can, deal with this issue is, going forward. I mean, literally it's explained, they're right here in the comic. Ida's going the wrong way to school, and Bridget is having to inform her, hey, you're going the wrong way. I've done the joke a couple of times already in the comic that Ida continuously gets lost, and it's because they really just aren't paying attention. They have their mind focused on something, and they're just going forward. And it's a reckless concept. But that's the way Ida/Theodore kind of is. They're very intelligent and they're very skilled in magic. But when it comes to things about life, understanding people's feelings, that kind of stuff, Ida's not best at that. So this is the first time that she's in a classroom with her new friend Bridget, and they're dealing with, hey, this is the start of the class, this is what's going to happen. Excuse me. And the series. So this is going to be a bit of a different. Usually with Drivel Draw, we have a huge topic to talk about, and I kind of feel this is the better topic to talk on because this is a little bit more relaxed and tame, and considering we're going into the 4th tomorrow, we will be streaming tomorrow. We'll be streaming Fallout 76 on a private server tomorrow. Never really played the game. I played a little bit this morning just to understand everything and see how it familiarizes with the original games. But we have it set up for a private server, so we won't be dealing with a lot of people, which I was seeing a lot of people with playing it not on a private server. So we'll do that tomorrow. People want to tune in, that'll be fine. We start that at noon. When I go about creating a comic, especially something completely new, which Witchin' was in 23, one, I need to know, hey, what's the premise of the characters? What are they like? And I build that into when I go through and draw out the character and think of the design. And we've kind of talked about that with character design a few weeks ago. But to go even further, to be like, hey, the characters have their own personality, have their own nature. And so we talked a little bit about Ida. But let's talk a little bit about Bridget, because not too many people know Bridget and whatnot. Like she said, she's shy and reserved. She's bullied at the beginning of the story into this situation by the dean's niece, who is running the dorm rooms. And by bullied, I mean she is flat out kicked out of the room, forced to sleep outside of pretty much in the common areas of the dorm, and doesn't really even have access to her own stuff at times. And it's mainly because, spoiled child, that is the RA, that is the, dean's niece. She's not, she is totally spoiled and wants to make sure, she's like, I get my way. She's not too happy about having Ida around, because the concept of having a witch in a, normal school, kind of weirds some people out. We start out with the beginning of the series, you see sort of the divide in the crowd and whatnot, and it changes a little bit, but that's simply because Ida, how she designed herself to look, is very attractive. And so when I design that concept into her personality, I have to keep that in mind. It's like, okay, with Bridget, as she grows, it's not going to really happen too much in this chapter. In this chapter, you know, stuff's going to be revealed, and she's going to be, the bully situation will be dealt with. But at the same time, there's another bully, and I don't know, I'm still working on this particular story. This one, Witch and I tend to ride by the seat of my pants writing. I know the plot points I'm hitting, but I don't know the actual script until I'm pretty much sitting down and being like, okay, here's the page, this is what's going on, what are they saying? And so I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, this is how they're written out and whatnot. So I'm still trying to discover Bridget. Abigail's pretty well known to me. So is their boss, Esme. And Diane Winters, who is the bully / roommate of Bridget. So, I mean, yeah, it's a matter of trying to find a character's voice and try to develop it. With a comedy series, it's a little more, you gotta go for the absurd at times with certain characters, and in case with Bridget, she's actually supposed to be the normal one out of the group. The bland to almost to a point where it's like a joke. I'm almost tempted to have her, you know, simply eat sandwiches with like white bread, mayo, and cheese sandwich. Be like, that's all I really like. And just sort of make her more reclusive, but at the same time having this relationship with Ida and in turn August. Or not August, Abigail. Thinking of the wrong character. But to tell these kind of stories, it's like, we need to have a little bit of fun with the thing. In Demon Blade, where it's more drama heavy, and I try to tell the stories with the characters in mind, but also really the plot, because the plot really is forward in Demon Blade, some more so than Witchin'. So, I mean, and that's how I tackled Love Potion Lament. So when I developed and came through with it, let's in fact go over to it. I'm actually gonna go into the page or book so you can kind of see if I can. Why can't I read my own project? Come on, why can't I read it? Oh, there. Start at the beginning. So, yeah, it's comic series. Let's see. How do I change? Where are the rest of the pages? I changed it. Oh, continue. Page 2. So yeah, like I said, we tell this story of the potion lab exploding at the beginning to introduce ourselves to the characters as they are being. So all of this is plot to set up this. Just to have this sort of connection where the two are really meeting for the first time and having this situation. And the story revolves around having this potion explode, which was a love potion that they were supposed to work on. And the teacher explains at the start, is like, look, this potion is only meant for you two to like each other enough to get along and not be a problem. And that it's a task that every teacher gives their new students at the beginning of their school years. So that's basically what happens in this comic. And we have little silly moments because Ryland thinks he's affected by the potion that it's all in his head, that he's falling in love for Theodore, but he doesn't know why, and he can't accept it. And so he goes through, tells us, we have a few more moments of development for the two of them and characteristics, coming up to, hey, joke. Then we switch to 2 years later. Their relationship's been going for 2 years, and they're trying to determine, hey, is this am I really still affected by this potion, or am I having feelings? And the story goes through, like I said, there's Ryland's mom, the first time I ever drew her from scratch, right there. So I really want to keep telling her the story, because she's actually pretty humorous as a character came out. And then we have little moments of Theodore constantly teasing Ryland and giving them different impressions here, leading up to this moment. And this is one of the moments I've noticed with people that have followed the comic in a couple other places I posted it. This is where they like it, preferably. It's explanation of, hey, you're in love with someone. How do you deal with that? Are you truly just gonna let it not happen, or not go forward and say anything? And in the case of Ryland, he's like, oh, well, so if it messes with my head, immediately, of course, it messes with his head. So we get a little moment, and actually, Witchin fans can note, this is Ida. This is flat out Ida, essentially. Young Ida, not young Theodore. The reason being, yes, there's a female chest, and the eyes are far more, beautified as a child, than Theodore has. Even though there's a running joke in Witchin that all Theodore really did was give himself boobs. So it tells the story of the two of them, and Theodore basically saying, no, let's not do that. I'd rather challenge you. I'd rather see where you're at and show you where I'm at. And that's where the story comes to its conclusions about, you have two children in love with each other. What do they tell? How do they have a relationship? They're still very young. At this point in the comic, they are about age 6 and I'd say 7 at the start, and then they're up to age 8 to 9 at that point, because I don't remember. I have not set birthdays yet for any of the characters, because I haven't decided on that yet. I do know Ryland is a year older than Theodore, though. And then we get a flashback to what is in Witchin the current day. In fact, it's the very day the first issue of Witchin starts. And it ends up with Ryland realizing, crap, I came here to admit things, but now they're gone. They've left. And do I keep going? And, you see how broken he is. And he's like, no, I'm going. I'm gonna go track you down and tell you. Damn it, I'm gonna win this. And so that is how the story goes. And when telling a story, because it's a little more complicated, the way I read the rules of this contest. So it wasn't about love. Anybody can do a comic about love and be like, yeah, this is about the first love, your first love, which almost never succeeds. And to have this case of Ryland having these emotions, having this buildup for the person who he spends most of his time for years growing up, it's a bit heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's like, hey, there's a future here. We just need to work at it. And that's very much what Love Potion Lament is. It's not about, oh, I'm in love with this person, and we have a deeper relationship, and it's first love. As much as I like to say first love is wonderful on book, wonderful on television, it doesn't always succeed. It sometimes succeeds, but it doesn't always succeed. More often than not, it doesn't succeed. In Demon Blade, Tetsu and Kyle, their relationship, it did succeed. I don't even know at this point if I'm going to make Rylan the winner of Ida's heart in the end. I don't know. There's going to be conflict because, you know, Theodore went in disguise and didn't tell him, and it's going to, you know, they're being somebody else completely, and it refers to chapter 1 of Witchin. So let's see if I can get to my projects. Let's go to Witchin. Literally refers to in chapter 1 of Witchin. And let's see. Read. There we go. Where we had this scene at the beginning of Witchin as, I think, 3? No. I kind of rushed this one with a iPad versus an actual tablet from there. But yeah, this moment of Theodore needs to talk with his dad. You know, hey, I've got a job. I need, you know, an apprenticeship with a new witch to learn magic. You know, continue to learn and go take part of things. Theodore doesn't know the shop that's called Wands is not about wands. It's a witch-themed restaurant. But their father is not happy about them leaving and going into this, you know, human-esque world and doing things. But at the end, we get this wonderful phrase here. Son, no matter what you do, I always worry about your safety. Just promise me no matter where you go, remember to not lose who you are. And that's the theme of Witchin, is, are they losing who they are when they become Ida and live this new life? And it's a hard thing to always kind of go over with people. It's like, look, when you tell a story about, you know, achievements, I mean, there's tons of shonen and whatnot, manga out there. It's like, oh, I'm going to be the, you know, I love One Piece. I'm going to be the Pirate King, you know, or Naruto. I'm going to be the Hokage. And how they grow into those roles. Well, this is someone doing it, but more maliciously. And so you have them be like, well, you're not letting me grow. I'm going to go and disguise myself and be somebody else to the world. And whether or not, you know, just tell these lies, tell all this stuff about me. And I may get lost in the sense. May get lost in the, you know, mindset and whatnot. It's very much a story about self-discovery. And for Theodore, there's going to be a struggle between, you know, do I want to continue living as Ida? Do I want to continue living as Theodore? How do I feel? What do I, you know, about? And constantly we talk about relationships in the series. There's a crazed, insane, I can't really show it here because it's not on here, but I can bring it up. I think it's even in the in my posts on Twitch or Twitter. So let's see here. See if I've loaded the comic, because it's been a few weeks. No, we only have Demon Blade up there. Okay, I don't have Witchin, so in that case we'll go to Witchin's main page. So, gotta wait for it to load though. It's gonna take a moment. I don't know why. Well, I mean, we're running on a lot of things here, so I kind of understand why it may take a little while. But in doing this contest, it's like, okay, here's the story. Like I said, I spent about 2 days writing the story and refining it. And then it came to drawing. And like I said, I got carpal tunnel during the process of doing this because I was trying to do this and all my other comics, and it was too difficult to do it. Because it's like, okay, I still gotta live life, I've gotta find a job to help, you know, bring in income regularly, and I've gotta make work. So, yeah, we go to Witchin pages here, and so of course love potion limits down here, but this is the current story, and it literally this current chapter starts out with literally this crazed girl who is goth that's deeply in love with Ida. Not, it's not reciprocal. Ida doesn't care. And just being this constant gag of they're trying to do these, push their love onto Ida, and they're constantly gonna lose that love. And so it's a good joke to kind of tell and bring into the story a bit. Especially when developing characters in the series. Let's go back to the drawing. And so when I write some of the stories, in fact, I think her cheek is way too severe right now. I'm gonna try and shrink that down a little bit. It's a little too severe. And I also think this mouth is too much. Okay. It's, there's certain things you have to do as a creator, and with series like Witchin' and Demon Blade, where I know I'm going to be coming back to a lot of, sceneries, backgrounds, characters, I have to develop, the personality of the comic with that mindset. And so, okay, this is going to be how, where they work. I mean, I designed wands and how it kind of looks and operates. And then I have, the dorm that they stay in and live in and whatnot. And because Theodore, from the first comic, of course, they, established, hey, the person living here is Ida, and they let the dean help them get a room, and basically the dean set them up in the girls' dorm. And Theodore's initial intention was go to school as Ida only, go to work as Theodore, live as Theodore at home. But because they were, oblivious to the world around them, their situation got to be where, okay, I'm pretty much living as Ida full-time, and their boss, Wands, is like, I'd much rather have Ida because she's going to draw the crowds. And this witch-themed restaurant, so literally the cover of this chapter shows Ida in her work uniform. So let's go back here and show the cover. That is Ida's work uniform. And so, and you get to see a bunch of the characters. So you see these are all characters that are involved in one way or another in this chapter. So we have Diane Winters up here at the top for you guys. Let's see if I can pull her down. Right here, we have the Lawrence Wansdale, who's the Wansdale family member who the Wansdales is Ida's last name is Wansdale. That's the name she took to sort of hide her identity, but it's causing her problems now. And that being said, now you have basically, okay, the family wants her to do something. In this case, they wanted her to marry into the family. She can keep her name and marry into the family if they fail. Now, they're actively trying to make her fail. But they basically set them up with a fiance who, as people are going to get to learn him, he's very much an egotistical actor from Hollywood that has this just superiority complex about himself. And one of the concepts I made for Val in the story is he praises himself for all the awards he's given, and it's like 14 Razzies, which is for the worst acting award. So he praises himself as an actor, but he's very much the like the director from The Room, where he's self-absorbed and be like, oh, I'm creating all this beautiful, legendary status for myself, and the babes just, come to me. And he's a charm magic user, so and it also comes into that play because he's a mage from a mage family, so. And his skill is charms. Theodore's skill is transmutation, but they're skilled in a lot other magics as well. And Ryland is a master of illusion. I did not explain either of their magical masteries in Love Potion Lament because I didn't feel it was relevant. But in this chapter of Witchin, you'll learn, yes, he's an illusionist. Ryland very much hides away their personality, themselves and their personality from the world a bit. And only has, really eyes for Theodore. So, if I did this contest by scratch, I didn't have characters and whatnot, fully dived out, I would have had to done character design for them. I probably would have cut back on the story, and focused on, how am I going to draw this out? It's going to be color, it's going to be black and white. Because people ask, it's like, why do you have Demon Blade in black and white, but have Witchin in full color? And the reason was, I did not ever want Witchin to be done printed. I don't want Witchin to be printed. I might change my mindset later, but for right now, Witchin is not planned for print. Demon Blade already is in print. The first book's out on Amazon, as they're promoting right there. The first book of Demon Blade's out on Amazon. You can buy it in physical or digital. Previous versions were only available digitally, but currently it's available also in print, so people can get a copy. I have seen a print copy. I've seen a lot of people enjoy the quality of the prints. And I've seen a lot of people, discuss, hey, maybe, this book is rather large and has a lot of pages in it, but it is, artistically designed to be a enjoyable book, but a collectible book at the same time. And that's what I have to go through when I kind of think through, what am I going to do for the comic? How I want it to look, how I want it to design it. So, Witchin, when I came to Witchin, I was like, alright, this is going to be a webcomic series. I don't intend to publish it. So, I didn't have to worry about, too much things about the colors for the print. Otherwise, I'd have to be like, okay, what are the color ranges, and let me select the color specifically that'll work well for printing. With black and white, it's black and white. You don't really have to color it. But to design a character from scratch and get a feel for them, honestly, I usually take about a couple months to design a main character. So if I did a new story from scratch, I don't think I would have had the time, because I'd have to get used to the look of the character and how well they act, and whatnot, and it'd take me some time to do. So, with Ida, it took me, I'd say 2 months to get her design down. I designed her in September of 2023, and by November 23, I was set on her design, along with a few other characters in the series design. Bridget, I think, has gone through the most changes through the work of the comic, because I kind of continually was like, oh, I wanted her to be mousy and, a little bit shy in nature, but open about who she is, but at the same time, unwilling to fight for who she is. So I had to design that concept with her. I had to be like, okay, I think, typically if you're going to do that, it's a good concept for a nerd character. And that's Bridget's personality. She's kind of nerdy. She likes sci-fi. She likes a couple other stories and whatnot, and she just enjoys, being who she is. Abigail probably will get along with Bridget in the concept of, what they kind of like in some things, but at the same time, they'll not get along in the concept that Abigail's very, upfront and forward about everything. And very abrasive as a person. And so, you have that kind of personality, and we're going to start seeing a little bit more of Ida taking on the role she has in Love Potion Lament. Carrying on this teasing personality, but at the same time having this sort of self-centered way and mindset. Drawing out, I'm not too worried about drawing out. So when I refer to, hey, I've done worse, and I did a comic in a week from start to publish. That was Demon Blade Chapter 0. It can still be found in some places on the web. It was a silly short story for 16 pages that sort of told Demon Blade what Demon Blade's about without giving everything away. So it's kind of like, hey, I want to have them, fight an entity. What's a good entity that would be humorous and whatnot? And I said, oh, well, let's have a zombie. They're fighting a zombie. The zombie doesn't know he's dead. And he's trying to get a cab to go back to town, and go see his family. But it's like, hey, all of a sudden I'm meeting this dead guy trying to get in a taxi, and the taxi's like runs off, and it ends up with him, defeating the zombie. It's very short, very little dialogue. There didn't have to be too much dialogue, and the pages were meant to be drawn, and the pages came out really well in that one, even though it was done in a week. And I try to give more love these days, especially to Demon Blade. It does make me delay a lot with Demon Blade, and that's kind of, a disappointment to me, because it's like, hey, I really need to get this page out, but I really want this page to look good when I do it. And I've literally got a page that I've been working on the last few weeks with Demon Blade to try and get it done, and I haven't been able to because it's a large scene of crowds, which would take a little while to draw, because when you're drawing multiple characters in one scene interacting with each other, you have to make sure they're interacting right, that all the characters look on point, that you're not going, too far from what the story or the plot is. And now I'm kind of like thinking this is a bit too much, but I'll leave it. I'll leave it for right now. With Witchin', I'm a little bit more free-based. I can just go and be like, hey, what's the story about? Here's the premise of what's this chapter is going to be talking about. So in this chapter, it's going to be talking about the ends that Theodore left behind and the actions they took having the repercussions to start occurring. With stuff like Val coming in the picture, and his egotistic ways, absolutely in love with Ida in a sense, because he sees it in the beginning as a way to get both power and, have a very attractive woman at his side. But you then have character personalities like with Ryland in the series. He's very an aggressive person, moody, kind of. He's the I'd like to say he's the what's the proper word for it? Abrasive friend. Essentially, he basically is like, hey, you're gonna be, you know, we're gonna be doing this, and you're gonna come with me. He's not reserved about what he feels and what he wants. Problem is you know, he wants stuff that other people are like, I don't want that. So the changes are thereabout. Drawing out a comic. It helps to have had years of experience doing paneling, doing layouts. I've seen a couple people's reviews, or not reviews, own takes on different comics from the comics contest that Flip Paint has out there, as to what, you know, what gets done and how they panel and how they thumbnail. And a lot of them are web cartoonists or illustrators who've never done an actual comic, so they don't have an understanding of the concept of gutters and how they work, about, you know, setting up a scene properly, because they draw one character and one style, and sometimes I'm like, okay, that style needs a bit more polish. It's, you know, rough, and a lot of people these days have a very similar style, especially here in the US. A lot of people have a similar style, and they're basically like, oh, well, this is how I do it. You know, I'm fine with, you know, how their styles are, but at the same time, I do feel that they're making it too similar to each other, and so it's kind of hard to be like, hey, your style's, you know, not fitting of, you know, what you're telling, or it's all. I'll use a reference here. They're pretty much have one look and one look only towards their characters, and they don't understand the concept of, you know, how you express emotion, how you express talking, how you express time in a piece, a static image. And those are important things to know when you become a cartoonist. What you do. If you don't understand, the gutters tend to represent time and how you position this. You also need to make sure that your page layout, and I'll try and show it a little bit here, that your character's never looking off to the side unless you want to disrupt them, disrupt the page. You need it to have a flow. Usually that flow is, you know, top, down, square, you know, swirled down. My best example of that, and let me see if I can pull that up. Using my own work, it comes from Demon Blade. So chapter 2. Yeah, I need comic chapter 2. A good idea of it is how you draw a scene and put it into play. So in this case, this was done years ago. For Demon Blade, and I wanted to tell this magical effect and give it a very artistic view, but at the same time I wanted to, you know, direct the eye to how it goes through. So we have Mai at the top using her spell, casting through, and giving this effect because she is a Yuki Onna. She uses ice magic. This is her literally destroying the villain of the week, essentially in that chapter. And for her to do that, we see the villain, you know, in a bit of a restraint here, in trouble, and then they're going away as a ghost would be in this series. I designed this page to be, you know, flow. So it flows out, so you see my spiral into what happens to the villain. And it just works out on that. And there's no panels in this one, because I wanted this to be almost like instantaneous action. But let me see if I can open another one. If I go to chapter 7, This is not in the book because the book ends at chapter 2. In order to tell the flow of time with something like this, where I draw Tetsu coming in and doing this attack, I want to, represent 1, they're running. 2, they're flipping their body in the air, and then they're spinning around and coming down with a very powerful kick that ends up, knocking out the bully, in this case, Thud. And so it's telling the action and understanding how the page will flow. So in this case, I did do they're looking off the page, and that's because I kind of want you to have this disruption. It starts here, but if you see the arms kind of play into here, or it starts. Let's see if I can put it on the page here. Yeah, so it starts at this panel here, right here, goes to this panel right here, and the flow. I have certain things that break up the flow, but I wanted to kind of show the motion, but show that the page still flows into itself in ways. And so when you get to the ultimate kick, you kind of almost are reflecting this kick, and you can kind of see where it's coming down, and has a huge amount of leverage and a huge amount of here. I mean, that's literally why it's called lever, is the leverage that was put into it in that one. If I go to a page like this in Witchin, we have just sort of the characters giving a front face in shock. Then we have the 2 characters looking at each other talking, and then of course we have the 3rd character, which is Doc. Then we have a break. It's meant so you pause, read this part, then read this part, and you immediately flow into this one. So, understanding that concept in a layout, when you put together a comic, understanding, how is this character going to look? What is this character going to do? Those are key things to know. And in this case, it's a matter, and particularly this page, we're going to have this instructor. He's going to be kind of, I believe, I'm going to have him, gotta deselect real quick, because I can't draw him. So I'm going to have him looking this way, which goes to here, which looks down, which doesn't have a flow, so it's a moment of stop, pause. Then the main character is looking here, over here, but their eyes are going down to this one. And then there's supposed to be a bit of a pause just because it's an awkward joke. It's a moment I want you to rest, so I drew it that way. That's how you tell a story with just image. I don't need words to describe what goes on in this. And yeah, there are going to be a couple situations where pausing is not ideal, and you kind of want to keep the flow going throughout the whole page. But it's not always true that way. So, I mean, this is even a joke here. I mean, the whole later moment, and we literally had about a page, well, 2 pages ago, where, actually, no, yeah, 2 pages ago, where Doc, who is Theodore/Ida's familiar, said they were going to go out, and explore the college campus for chicks and Riz, but I mean, Doc doesn't really talk, and by the chicks he means actual bird chicks. But it was a nice little gag joke, hey, here's this bird trying to Riz up people. And I just love the concept of the joke. It's, like I said, it could not land. People may not get the joke entirely, and it's hard to tell with some people, what they find as comedic and what they find as, just eh. Where's my, okay, I see my opening. Running through the shadows, lost in the night. I need a hero to make it all right. Screaming out, but no one's around. Doc is always meant to be a mascot comedy moment. anything I put Doc in, as far as personality-wise, he's always there to react or tell a joke through visuals without words. Because all he ever says is who, that kind of stuff. Because he's a midnight blue owl, is the species I created for. Which is just this blue-covered, weird-looking bird that, like Theodore, can change their form with transmutation, magic that they have naturally. And in the case of Doc, he kind of does it as a means to pester certain characters, particularly... I need to see Doc's proper color. I'm not doing his color properly. But yeah, he's meant to be the cute mascot character. He's meant to have that personality and be a sellable item. I don't have anything to sell with him right now, but that's how I designed it. When I came up with Doc, I was in the hospital drawing on an art pad, just with pen and paper, well, pencil and paper. They didn't give me pens. And I came up with a concept of, hey, I want them to have this owl-like creature that's more, if I was to say what it more looks like a giant quail, with its little feather head, which you can't see in this, later joke pose. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, how would I market this character? How would I do it? And for Doc, it's not that hard. It's basically, he's a break between any sort of heavy storytelling and whatnot, just to give him a little bit, or give the characters a little bit of a break. And so I'll have a little joke here and there for him. But if I come into, oh crap, I did the wrong layer. Okay. Anyways. So, the key thing when going into a contest or writing a new series because somebody asked it is to set the premise. It really is. And in the contest, they give you, directive of what you have to talk about. So a lot of people can write a love story, but it's a matter of how do they meet? What do they have the first love? Does their love reciprocate and their feelings as well? The answer is, in Love Potion Men, no, they don't. I'm not going to say whether or not Ryland and Ida get together later. It's possible. I haven't written it down in stone. But it's also possible that Ida goes with Val in the end. So I don't, as a creator, I don't know the full story. I know the pinpoints. And that's what most comic artists, most mangaka that are independent, they'll be like, okay, I know the character is going to do X by this point in the story. So how do we work that into the story? Who do we introduce? What characters are around? Are we using just characters we already have? Or is there any other character even involved? Because you could have a comic that has a total stranger, or just one character. You can just do one character in the story. I can't guarantee it's going to be the best if you have one character. It's hard to write with one character, let's put it that way, because the concept of the story, always you need to have, plot development. And in the case of something like this, or Love Potion Men, I was like, okay, I need to have, what point is this comic going to be about? And that was already kind of established to me with the contest. So them saying, okay, this is about first love. And, you can do it in black and white, you can do it in color, you can do it right to left, left to right. and you can do it any language you want, but we're only really judging on French and English. So it leaves a concept. You can have a comic without any words. I think the third contest they had was no words. You had to have an entire comic written down with no words spoken. Actually, no, that was the last one. That was 4. That was contest 4. So contest 4 was, yeah, you had to write the entire comic but not have any words spoken. So you had to tell a story through actions, emotions on the characters, reactions from a character or something, but they cannot speak. Now, I didn't go into that one because I was a little confused. It's like, I don't know. 1, I didn't have the time at that point. But 2, I didn't understand if sound effects were okay. And that's the one thing is like, okay, what if I have them, a sound effect occurring? Is that appropriate for the character to do in that position, in that piece? Silliness of a bird. Just hey. Hey. But yeah, when telling a story, it's understanding where your characters are is the key. Because I'll use an example in modern media. Okay, so we have Spider-Man. Okay, Spider-Man has laws essentially as how Spider-Man acts. You're not going to find Spider-Man out there, acting big, strong, and tough, because he's still a little guy. But he's a character with the heart of it. That's what makes Spider-Man work. It's about yes, about great power comes great responsibility, but Peter does these things because he knows he needs to do better. Or it's even the same case with gosh, I'm forgetting his Miles. It's even the same case with Miles. They both have this, intention to do greater good. And a more sadistic writer, I'm not saying I wouldn't be the same, would do something to conflict with that scenario. I don't know why I picked that. That is not what I was planning to draw with. Okay. And this is not on the right layer. So, in talking about, hey, what do we do? So the first step is always write out the comic idea. You don't have to do the script until, the finalized script until you've started drawing it, but it's a good idea to have the plot point on something. You then can draw the script or put in the script later, here or before or after. Then you get to sketching it out. So, let me open another thing. So, you guys can see on the side, we're on pages. With Witchin', they're blank. Like I said, I draw them as I go. But with Demon Blade, if I'm going to go into the latest Demon Blade comic, it's going to take a moment to load. So, I'm going to try and move myself. Let's see if I can move. Yeah, okay. So, in this black area, grayish black area, I'm kind of spread it out here to show you. I have sketched out almost the entirety of this chapter. One, I've had the script for Demon Blade written a long time, for a long time. And so I know what's going on in the plot, in the series, and where the story beats have to meet here and there to tell that story. But, I mean, let's go. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, like this situation. You can't tell other than you see one face, and this is mine clearly. Let me scroll it up here so you guys can see. So this is clearly mine because I drew her eye the way she draw her eye is. This is more demon-like. It's slanted, or slitted, kind of like a drag. You would draw a demon or a dragon or something in the stories. I think this is Sarah because her hair, the way her hair is going. It could be Tetra. I don't remember off the top of my head. But this is literally Kyle going and meeting them at the homecoming. At homecoming at the end, or which is the end part of the story of that chapter. And so you have this moment of they're meeting each other. Actually, that's Eno. That's what that is. It's supposed to be Mai and Eno being introduced to Kyle for the first time. In his mind, because he had a short-term memory loss happen in the story. Not amnesia, just short-term memory loss. And the one thing that he didn't remember is he solved the who this girl was that he was chasing for years. This girl was that he was in love with. Because he's always held his heart out to one girl, and I've already closed it. Didn't I? All right. Where is it that they meet? Actually, this is probably a better example here. So, in Chapter 5, you have this example of how the flow is told. So, I mean, I wanted this top to be condensed with characters, having emotion, showing the emotions, showing their personalities out in this, because it's supposed to be like a very hectic scene. Come, boop, 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 beat, beat, beat. Only to end in a more relaxed moment and casual moment between Kyle and, in this case, Petra, which is Tetsu's female persona. Where? Yeah, I showed the one earlier, where it was the run, and this is what was repeated in the comic earlier. So 5 has a repeat, and 7 to the exact actions that happened in that story. Where you have Thad here choking the character Sarah reaction, and then Tetra stepping in and doing the, kick on into the head of Thud, or Thad. People may call him Thud, but it's actually Thug, is the nickname. So, flow of a comic page is very important. In this case, since it was a flashback, I made the gutters black, because it already happened, situation. But this is supposed to be meant speed up. At the same time, the gutters are leading you to here, which in turn leads you into here. So, not doing a non-traditional gutter lineup sometimes helps in a scenario. We saw that with Mai and the Shattered. That was an untraditional lineup for a page. And when you do a page that is supposed to be impactful, you really want to make that the main scene. So this is literally following into the earlier one we showed. This one from this page goes into this page, and so I wanted this scene to be very impactful because it's possibly the last moment the two are together, because Tetra's basically been sliced in the throat, dying a little bit, and is in Kyle's arms, and they're basically saying, you know, it doesn't hurt. I want you to hold on to, in this case, I want you to hold on to the smile I give you now, to remember me by, but I will be back. Do not, you know, don't doubt me. A nice, you know, scene that's jarred but simply has a flow to it. And, so, I mean, like, here we have, I'll move my model again back so I'm not in the freaking way. Wait. Come on. There we go. Alright. So you can see the sort of the flow of, you know, we have this big break here in the comic, right here. And then we go into the last words here that slowly fade out the scene. And so basically, Kyle never knows who Tetra is. He didn't even know her name at that point. But as we go into the timeline later on, with Chapter 6, you realize that the two reunite, essentially, unintentionally, and Kyle it gets the revelation, is like, whoa, this guy I've been friends with for the last 4 years, that's the girl I loved. That, I mean, he finally had that revelation. Then I got him in an accident, had a memory loss, to have a new, you know, point later in the comic, which is in this current comic of Demon Blade, pages of Demon Blade, that's going to come about. And it's like, okay, we're going to have the resolution where Kyle regains the memory he had of her, and he's going to get the answers, and it's going to be a, you know, moment. Does Kyle carry on his love for her? You know, does he feel betrayed by this person who was his friend for years? Or does he beat himself up for being, oh no, you know, how did I miss this entire time? And it's that kind of, you know, personality quirk that makes Kyle, you know, in case Kyle's the overly loving, flirtatious, but very protective individual. Whereas you have characters like Mai, who's very self-centered, very cold about things, and very distant if and a relationship involved. Rightfully so, because she got betrayed in such a situation. Let's see. The main character, Tetsu, very smart individual, very, you know, all about themselves and their business, and they will, because of past trauma, they don't feel they are ready to accept anything in their life, because they've been hurt really, really badly and suffer PTSD. So, I mean, their scenario, it's more a matter of like, okay, how does the character deal with this situation, all the while having, you know, this person say they're in love with me, and do I hold on to that? And it's a rough moment, but it's a great moment to sort of personalize and tell in that story. And if I had done that instead of Love Potion Lament for the comic contest, one, it wouldn't be accepted because of blood. Like I said, you saw the scene, there's blood, a lot of blood. And that scene, even if it is black and white, a lot of blood. But it's a powerful moment of love. Of first love at that. I mean, it's a powerful moment. Now, mind you, in that case, they both have feelings for each other. Love Potion Lament. Theodore cares for his friend, but I don't know if he quite understands that Ryland is actually in love with him. I kind of hint that maybe he understands that he doesn't want to change their relationship, and sort of basically that's why they kind of, at the end of Lament, kind of just like, look, I challenge you to a duel. If you can beat me, I'll hear you out, but If you can't, then you can just keep trying, but I'm not going to listen to you. And that's essentially what happens in the series, or in that comic, is, they have to fight for their words to the Rylan has to fight for his words to be taken and accepted by Theodore. And a bit of spoiler for Witchin that is not drawn, not talked about. Theodore's love, it's not there at the moment. They're gonna learn, hey, maybe there is something behind love as it goes. But in case of Rylan, when he appears in this comic, he's gonna be against Ida. He's gonna be an adversary for Ida, at least for a little while. Because what he's doing in this chapter and what will be seen in this chapter is he's trying to find Theodore. And his only clue is go to Wands. Go to this place called Wands in this city, and Theodore's there. Well, none of the staff at Wands, except for the witch in charge, knows the truth. And she's not going to say the truth because, essentially that's a mess that she even said from the beginning when she hired her. I am not here to solve your problems. I'm here to teach you magic. That's that. If you have problems, take them elsewhere. This is a situation where she's like, I ain't helping you. This is all on you. You dug your own hole. Deal with this mess and move on. But knowing the character, knowing Esme, I don't think she's doing it in a mean way. She's basically being like, hey, this guy has feelings for you. Why don't you be honest to him about your own feelings to him? And it's going to be a difficult situation. I mean, Witchin is very much my version of Rumble in Half. You're going to see multiple issues, multiple, incidences where magic's going to be come into play and have to be dealt with. But with Ida and Rylan, their friendship will regrow once he knows the truth. But right now, he doesn't know the truth. Let's see, Rylan is not going to catch a clue that Ida is Theodore. I just kind of like making the magical characters kind of like this goofiness, as I get ready to draw the very cold and strict personality that is Armand, the guardian that Ida has from the family, from the Wansdale family. Telling sort of, elements of the characters in the story, you need to kind of have an understanding of, hey, would this character do X? Would this character do Y? Sorry for those who don't, like algebra, but that's algebra for you. And in the case of Ida, she needs to learn. She needs to learn. She doesn't have this great understanding of the world that they think they do. And they're going to be put in their place a little bit at times. Scars of yesterday cutting deep. Can I forgive? Can I let it sleep? Battles wage inside my mind. Trying to escape this. So, just kind of drawing out I'm probably going to do circles for that, actually. Let's draw the face more. Alright, so this comes down here. Let me see how it looks. A little too rounded for his face, actually. Let's see here. In the case of Armand here, he is pretty much a dead serious character. He is jokey, but it's not by his nature. It's mainly him doing weird things and being jokey in that sense, but he thinks he's being serious about things. So, and Armand was literally created last chapter. I did not have Armand planned. I knew there was going to be somebody that have to test at Ida so they can get up to new ranks as a mage. But I wanted them to also be a member or understanding a part of the Wansdales. So Armand is sort of a bastard child. He's a bastard child of one of the family members that had a relationship with a dark elf, and that's how he was born. But yeah, I mean, to draw, a comic is nothing new for me. So the contest, I knew I could do it. It's just a matter of one, motivation, and two, skill, and patience. And I am not doing too well tonight, apparently. I can see. Let's just draw his eyes as they are. Which are. Hollywood bows to my unmatched fame. I snap my fingers. In fact, this is a Val song. This song is for Val Wansdale. Got a magic touch you can't deny. Turns dust into gold with just one slide. I'm the king of this town. I know I am that great. Got the magic and charm that you'll appreciate. Every scene I steal with just a little wink. I'm the man who makes your heart skip a beat. Directors and agents all come to me. My signature smile, it's the key to the city. They try to mimic, but no one's close. I own the stage, I am the ultimate host. So we're just gonna draw in this. I never lose my glow. Watch how I shine wherever I go. Awards and accolades stack up high. I'm the legend and I touch the sky. I'm the king of this town. I know I am that great. Got the magic and charm that you'll appreciate. Every scene I steal with just a little wink. I'm the man who makes your heart skip a beat. I think that's the color of his eyes. Let me check. Okay, yeah, they're green, but they have a different pattern. They're not like pupils. When I design a character, especially some character of a race that doesn't belong, that's not natural in our world, I have to think of, little details. Do I want to repeat, in this case, dark elves? Do I want to repeat, what people have done with dark elves in the past? Do I want to do something like that? Or do I want to give them a different personality? With Armand here, he is very much distant from the, fantasy version of dark elf to being more of a house member. Even though he's not accepted into his own family. That's another thing about him, is he is, while he is a Wansdale, he's not accepted as an official member, so he's treated like servant. And I can say from writing, the basic writing I did on this chat, or on the family of Wansdale, it's not in the chapter, it's gonna be later though, that most of the Wansdales are just these abusive people with dark nature, ill intent, and they will treat the staff like crap. and making one of their own family members being the staff means they're going to treat a fellow family member that way. And they don't care. They don't care. They are literally supposed to be like these evil people that really are antiquated in their feelings, but at the same time, spoiled to the core. The last chapter had the main, the head of the whole Wandale's household that's lived for 500 years, basically saying, hey, I don't like my family. I dislike them. I just loathe them, And with just rightness, or with... I've been horrible at speaking today, I can tell. With how it's been going, or how the family's been, he's basically like, no, they're all horrible people. And he wants somebody new who's not horrible, who's good at magic, to join the family. And he's getting that chance with Ida. But, no. Not even going to respond to that. It's the bot of the day. But yeah. It's basically they're telling their own family members to, hey, you don't belong here. We don't need you around, unless you want to do, lame work for us and make us have to accept you as you are. As nothing more than just a pawn. And like I said, I didn't think of Armand until last chapter. The start of last chapter, because he was introduced there, but till the last chapter. That was pure black, wasn't it? Nope, it was dark gray. Gonna sneeze. Nose looks weird. The fake. I know it's supposed to be a fake nose, but it still looks weird. And the eye's not aligned either. I've done a mess here. I have done a mess here. Alright, we're gonna have to redo that eye. We want to kind of make it the same around and focus a bit more on that. So I'm gonna be a little bit more quieter as I try to bring this page a little bit more life. And we'll just deal with it. If somebody wants to have a topic to chat, we'll talk about it. Normally we talk about current world or drama in the world or whatnot. But yeah, it's been relative. There's a lot of stuff I could talk about, but a lot of stuff I'm not going to talk about. Let's put it that way. We don't really have a need to talk about the big beautiful, or beautiful bill. I'm going to save my headache and just copy and paste the eye. Literally trying to look at things as best I can, but it's really hard sometimes on here. It's giving me a bit of eye strain here. So you want to flip horizontal. See here, where is okay. Select, and we'll select the entire box again. just take, I mean, the absurdity of taking this cool, you know, suave Guardian character. I'm gonna roll this up so you guys can see what I've been doing. Having that concept in a character and then making them silly is just a wonderful joke to play. And actually, yeah, this is one of the songs about the Wansdales.
Wansdale's scheming life soaked in sin told me I'm one of them, yeah, debut.
Damn it. Oh, I'm in the wrong layer.
But I sniff the
That's why.
rot beneath their virtue. Spoiled apples dressed up as gold. Sweet words, but their hearts are so cold. They see my power, think
I'm gonna use a tool for it.
but I'm no puppet, I'm no one's pawn. Found myself bound by their twisted art. Magic's a leash, they say play your part. But under waves I got fire in my veins. Ignoring whispers, breaking their chains.
Undo that. Actually, I do not like how that sort of came out. So we're gonna try and do.
Sweet words, but their hearts are so
Ah.
cold. They see my power, think they won. But I'm a storm.
A little bit better.
Begun.
Not high enough. So, a couple things that have been going on that I hadn't really talked about. One,
They clink their wands like swords in
I am reaching a point where I'm not going to take in any more requests for this show because we're almost to 2026 in requests, and I kind of want to get them done before I go and say, hey, we still have these requests to deal with. So we'll see tonight, and I'm just gonna have to be putting that on pause. I've said it before on DeviantArt, but I need to make sure I say it here as well. There's also, the delays in the comics that are expected because the Love Potion Lament took a lot of my time to draw out, and because it was so detailed and in color, and I had to make sure it's on point, and you know, I had carpal tunnel, so I had to continuously take breaks. It was going to take a while. And so I had to put all the other works on the side. So that's why Witchin' and Demon Blade still won't come out until next weekend. Publicly. Privately, it should come out this weekend for at least the new page of Witchin' and the new page of Demon Blade. Should be going public or private in Patreon to sponsors. Okay, put that up there. I gotta give him his fancy hair. But I really gotta do his ears, which it's always kind of complicated to try and think of how an ear goes in a comic, but particularly when it's not a regular creature. Does the creature have ears? Are they long? Are they tall? Are they big? Are they small? You know, it's a lot of concepts to come through. So in this case, with the dark elf, I kind of wanted the ears to be longer, and almost straight off the head. I don't know if we'll have a different kind of elf appear, or any other, or what else will be. I mean, we have a goblin that's appeared, we had a golem appear, and both in Witch and Demon Blade. We somewhat have a Minotaur in Demon Blade. He's not your typical Minotaur. I can close that one. I don't need that open. I don't think I need this one open either. Alright, so we got those. His hair, I need to do his hair. I forgot he has this long strand here. I do feel if he was out of disguise, he may attract, lovers for Armand, but at the same time, Armand's kind of just like, I have my duty, I have to see it through kind of personality. Which makes him a good, person to hire to take on with duties with somebody you don't really know. Because he'll have his loyalties to the family.
Creating something new. And drips and splatters, it's a beautiful mess. Drawing inspiration, no rules, no stress. Sketching lines and shapes. Bringing worlds to life, I's got the talent. She'll guide you through the night.
Come on, get that off.
Pencil strokes dancing across the page. Let your imagination break out its cage. Abstract or realistic, it's all up to you. Turning in doodles.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of just out of topic. There's not much more I want to talk about the contest. You can, if you want to vote for it, you can go to Manga Draft and put in your vote for it. It'd be nice because potentially on there's a possibility of work regularly, as well as a financial reward. So it's important to have that people to vote. So I will make sure I repost the link for people. Damn it. That's right. I need to add his eyebrows, which are straight lines. They're not that difficult to do. I am really ready to get into the request, and it's about time to do it anyway. So I'm gonna finish up Armand here, and we'll switch over. So tonight's request that was put in on DeviantArt was to draw Panty from Panty, Stocking, and with Garter Belt anime. Draw her as Holly Wood from Cool World, which it's an okay film. If you've never seen it, it does star Brad Pitt, for those who want to know. There is an infamous actor, Kim Basinger is pretty infamous too, and she plays the main character, Hollywood, but she's mostly drawn for most of it, but she is live action for a bit of it as well. It's a weird movie, though. I'm trying to recall the plot fully. I believe it is a professional cartoonist who draws Cool World, which, if you name your comic Cool World, you're not going to go anywhere. It's the dumbest concept, and they kind of made him like a little bit of a combination of a Crumb, who is a infamous comic artist I believe for Mad Magazine, over the years, and a little bit maybe of trying to think the proper person's name. Maybe and no, it's not Andrew Lloyd Webber. I'm forgetting his name. Let me look it up. Tim Wood. Never mind. I'm forgetting the last name, but it's Tim Burton. I don't know why Burton was not flowing in my head, but Tim Burton. So it has a little bit of Tim Burton-esque scenario, a little bit of that style. So it's a little dark and risque. It's also kind of a little a nod to Felix the Cat, which is not it was not a children's show, even though it has a cute little cat on the cover. It's very much adult oriented. And in Cool World, the villain, which is Hollywood, played by Kim Basinger, she wants out of the comics and into the real world. So the premise is the character starts talking with their creator, and that it's not okay. The concept of this world is it's not okay for the creator to fall in love with his own creation, or boinking a toon in the series. So, and Hollywood's a toon. She comes out and it's a real woman for a little bit of the film, but she has this cartoonist named Jack, who she manipulates throughout the whole thing, and Jack's just thinking with his penis, and it shows. The dude breaks all the laws, and it's up to Brad Pitt's character to basically bring them down to Earth and be like, hey, you can't do this, man. He's a detective, he's doing all this. And Brad Pitt's character has this relationship with cartoon as well. The problem is the cartoon he's in love with, they're strictly platonic. They know they can't have any relationship. Brad Pitt dies in the film and turns into a toon at the end. But so does Jack, and Jack turns into a toon because he boinked the Hollywood as a cartoon. So the whole story is dumb. It revolves around having sex with cartoon characters. And the movie itself was just not a good film. It really wasn't. I've watched it, I think, 3 times in total. And I think by the 3rd time, I'm like, this is a really bad premise of a movie. But it exists. It's risque. It's adult. I mean, there's brief nudity in it. So there's some boobage. I don't remember if there's swearing in it that much. If there was, I don't recall it. I do know that Hollywood has a nickname for Jack, and we'll be drawing Jack and Hollywood. We're gonna draw Hollywood as Panty from Panty and Stocking, and then Jack just as Jack was, and at the end of the series or film, where he's this overly muscular, stupid ass superhero that she referringly calls Pencil Dick. Exactly because he's got a really small, and it's a good sort of like insult if you have a cartoon for a cartoonist. It's like, you have a pencil dick. But and there's still work I gotta do on this page a lot, but we're not gonna do any more at this point. We're just gonna fill in these, and of course they're open. Dadgummit.
is no way out without paying the price for the poor.
There you go. I'll do more shading and stuff on that later. But we have our request. So, like I said, big and dumb. Jack is this big, dumb ass superhero at the end. And let me see if I can pull up. Alright, that's the poster. So we'll go to the top real quick. I'll show you the poster. Alright. This is Cool World. Oh. I gotta be careful because there is a lot of stuff out there if I type in just these characters. But yeah, Brad Pitt stars as a detective in the series, and Gabrielle Byrne would be Jack, and Kim Basinger is, of course, Hollywood, as she's called. It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie. It's cool what they did, but I would be happy if no one remade this film because it could only get worse, in my opinion. But our request today is to do Hollywood, and you just saw the outfit I have her in. Because it's gonna be Panty from Panty and Stocking, so we have Panty down here, we have Jack up here. I want her to look like she's not interested, because she's not. She's stuck with the guy, but she's not. That was the case of the film when it ended. Is Hollywood is stuck with Jack by her side, and he's just an ass. So, when I sketched out this idea, I was like, I need to have Jack as this overly muscular superhero trying to flex, and Hollywood just looking away. So that's why we're doing that. And with Panty's image, I need to bring it up because I'm drawing her face more than anything up. That's Jack. I can keep him down for right now. With Panty, I kind of need to see her face a little bit better. I wasn't going to do the style of the comic because it's like it would be too weird to do Hollywood version of Panty in that style. So I went with more of their angelic style from the series. And it's a bit more traditional anime look. So it's easy to kind of draw out. But at the same time, there's little things that need to change here and there. Okay, we're gonna bring this through.
My heart is set on loving you. Father tells me you're no more lost to shadows in the night.
I know what's going on and why it looks weird. Okay, I gotta redraw all that. That is on a layer with a character. Alright. I don't even have other layers going. Okay. God. Let's bring in the arm here. I'm gonna start with the arm because it's the more forward facing, and it has. I need to make sure the personality's caught in the pose. So we're gonna bring that over. I'm gonna erase the muscle. Ah, flash. I thought I had it clear. There we go. So yeah, I think the only reason Cool World worked was because of Kim Basinger. Brad Pitt was okay in the film. But Kim was definitely the one to carry most of that film. Because she's the villain, and the main plot revolves around boinking her. You know, her creator boinking her. So that's what we gotta do. have her have this sort of like disappointed face.
My heart is set on loving you.
All right. I need to see her eyes because she is. Okay.
In the darkest of nights, I'm all alone, lost my way.
Where am I? There I am. Okay. So we're going to.
Need someone to pull me up from this nightmare.
Just a few lashes.
They whisper in the shadows, they make me weak. I'm running on empty, can't keep up the fight. I need a savior to show me the light. These demons inside, they never sleep. They whisper in the shadows, they make me weak. I'm running on empty, can't
Just gonna
keep
bring
up
this
the
around.
fight. I need a savior, so show me the light. Save me from myself. I'm drowning in doubt. I need your love, baby. I can't live without. I'm begging you, darling. Please
Shouldn't have done that bottom eyelash. I think it's still a little too long. All right.
myself, 'cause I'm
So this is a somewhat of a 3/4 view.
in the silence of the night. I hear your voice.
It's probably the more traditional style you see the characters in anime is more a what's the word for it? A simple line set. Especially Panty and Stocking. Panty and Stocking has a lot of detail when it needs to be, but it's more because it's comedic. It carries a much more cartoony, quick hand look to them. So let's do that. Let's zoom out. So, I mean, the eyes look so messed up because one is way shorter than the other. Let's do that a little bit, make it more round eyeball. Okay. I want to do her dress, which is this strappy, low top, white dress. Is her eyebrows? Alright, her eyebrows are black. So. Come on, zoom out. There we go. Alright, we're going to need to go ahead and bring this arm that comes in over. Take that. I am just having a horrible time drawing today. I don't know why. Just kind of, well, let's deal with the fingers in a minute. Um, and I'm trying to think of some references that I can. It's been, I know, over a decade since I've seen the film, so I'm trying to remember much about it. But I mean, it pretty much is, you know, hey, she comes out of, you know, his world, or his created cartoon world called Cool World, which is, again, bad name for a comic. And what makes it worse is it's kind of like all the characters that are in Cool World that are cartoons, most of them are just over the top Looney Tunes-esque creatures. And then you have Kim Basinger's character, Hollywood, who's over the top sexually. It's a little weird to have that in the film. I'm just dreading how much work I'm doing here. That's just mediocre. Alright, let's see here. Want to see where the skirt goes, so it goes like that. Okay. Very skimpy skirt. And just bringing it around. Up. Okay.
Children feel what Lori speaks. Truth and fiction twisted lore. Feel the witch behind each door. Lori the
Alright, her hair is the more unique thing for Panty. It's all over the place. It really is.
trouble she brings. Watch her burn beneath ember wings. Lori the liar. Lori the witch. The witch. Lori the liar.
And that.
Creep.
Up and around.
Children feel what Lori speaks. Truth and fiction twisted lore.
Bring that around.
Feel the witch behind each
Oh, she has more spikes than that. Okay, I'm missing some of the spikes.
Lori the witch. Burn her down
So that
in the
to
darkest pitch. Lori the liar. Trouble she brings. Watch her burn beneath ember wings.
okay. Let's add the rest of her hair.
Candles flicker in the square. Whispered prayers fill the air. Voices rise in fervent song. Writing all that's been so wrong. Lori the liar. Lori the witch.
A little too much.
Burn her down in the darkest pitch. Lori the
Okay, now I'm gonna sketch out Jack while I've got him here.
watch her burn beneath ember wings.
He's got the butt chin. He has a little cape that's flapping in the wind like a really tiny cape. And I really need to draw that a little bit better. Yeah, it's not large at all, so it's going to be going like that. I need to make his cheeks bigger. Because he's got this dumb. Well, he's got even more than that. Let's fix the olive jack here. Not the smile, though. I think the smile's perfect. Well, I need to fix that a little bit there, but we'll do that. Alright. Chin's gonna be like big and muscular. Up. Okay, let me see. He's got a weird sort of ear, but I'm gonna try and replicate it. Or do it my own style. He's got this big, bulbous nose. Tiny little eyes. Really? How tiny his eyes are? Yeah, I guess. I asked them, did they want Jack as he was before the tune or after the tune? It's like after the tune. So he becomes an idiot superhero. Try and do the eyes a little bit bigger. He does not have much in the way of sideburns.
Darkness falls across the land. We shall make our final stand.
He's got the Superman curly Q.
Lock my heart away, keep it safe and sound in a hidden fortress where love can't be found. Building up these walls, shields of steel and stone to protect the love inside.
It's too open. Where am I open? Alright, right there at the ear.
Silent tears will fall when I'm thinking of you. Whispers in the dark saying this love is true. But the world's so cruel, it tears us apart. I'll be your guardian angel, protecting your heart. I'll hide away, keep the demons at bay, wrap you in my arms, keep you safe from the fray. I'll
Okay.
be your shield, your fortress, and your guide.
Kind of messed up on the hair a little bit there.
Forever by your side.
No, it should be lower. It should be longer hair. I didn't even do that properly. Oh. Alright. What a way to draw a superhero with big, muscly chest that almost looks like he has boobs. Ah, fudge. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. I'll have to resketch that out a bit. Okay. I do have his arm going over here because he's giving sort of like a strength pose. Ah, come on.
Till the very day all has ended. I'll hide away, keep the demons at bay, wrap you in my arms, keep you safe from the fray.
Alright, it's 1, 2, 3. How many fingers does he have? Oh, I can't even see that. Alright, never mind. Hide Panty and Stocking while I can see it, so I can see this properly. Let's see, we need to go into his gloves and his flex.
Enter the lair of brew and stew, mystical bites just for you. Cauldrons bubble on the stove, witches grin as they serve with love. Mushroom caps and bat wing fries, spooky meals take you by surprise. Pumpkin pie with the cursed charm, a taste of magic won't do harm.
Don't like that last line. Alright, now get rid of that. And then we kind of come down here to his muscles down here. Definitely skipped leg day on this character. Alright, let's get the palm of the hand better. I'm gonna try and redo this. The fingers as well. I don't like how the fingers are going. I don't know what's going on. I'm just not doing too well today with art. I was doing fine earlier, but now it's like when I have to do it live, it's like today's art is gonna be a mess.
Pumpkin pie with a cursed charm, a taste of magic won't do harm.
Completely sketch out that. Alright. What we'll do is add another, well, I have another layer already. It's okay. Let's fade the blue line right now down a bit. Now line 2, I'm going to sketch it a little bit. I'm going to try and sketch how I want to have her hands and his hands. Oh, he's got dimples. We need to make sure we include those. So do a dimple. And then else actually go longer on him. Oh, no, this is sketch layer. Duh. That's why it's not fitting him. Alright. Okay, now that I have that concept of the layer, let's bring the dimples in. I'm going to kind of make the chin a little more pronounced. Eyelash, or the eyelash, the eyebrow. I really am not doing well today. Oh my god, why do people watch me? Yeah, it's, I guess Thursdays are a reason. There's a reason I don't work Thursdays on this stuff. My brain is fried. And that is a mess too, so.
Books in the hallway, posters on the wall, pranks all day long, we're having a ball.
Alright.
Running through the dorms, music blasting loud, dancing in the quad, we draw a crowd.
I mean, the premise of this movie, thinking about it at current day, there are a lot of people that would want to have sex with a cartoon character. I don't know why, but yeah. I can't vouch for why, because hey, each person has their own interests, but... And I mean, Kim Basinger is hot at that point. She was pretty hot. I can't tell for now, because I haven't seen her in a while. That skin tone is way too red. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the color they gave him, so he's got a tan body, I guess.
I watch you smile when you're with them.
I love this song. I love it.
A warmth in your eyes I can't condemn. Your love for them is pure and true, but my heart still beats for you. I'll love you in the quiet shade, in shadows where my hopes will fade.
Okay. Nope. Undo. Alright, I see a couple things I need to take care of before I do that pill.
But I won't tarnish your sweet name. I hear your laughter, a symphony. A melody that's not meant for me. I'll stand in silence.
Wrong. Okay, there we are.
No need to fight.
Alright, let's do...
Happiness is my guiding light. I dream of worlds where you are mine, but dreams dissolve with the morning shine. I respect the bond you've deeply tied, and I'll learn to love you on the side. I'll love you in the quiet shade, in shadows where my hopes will fade. I wanna cling to call you mine, but the
complete lines here.
Loving you means letting it be, even if it's never me.
Alright, remove that. Okay. Let's see here. I think it's pretty much ready for coloring. This one's not going to take as long, so we're probably not going to be 4 hours long stream. In fact, it might be just 3 hours the way we're going, because it's 10:30, and I'm almost done with the drawing of this. I gotta fix the damn fingers there. Alright, that goes there. Let's go ahead and put the red.
For moments where you'd feel my soul.
So many open spots. God dang.
Letting it be,
Alright.
even if it's
I don't see where this is opening, but just to play it safe, sometimes it does it here. So I'm just gonna close that off.
lost in the thoughts, trying to find a way
What the?
in a world that's pushing her further.
Why is this not connecting here? Bring out Panty and Stocking so I can see her color scheme.
She's feeling the pressure, but deep inside, her dreams are a treasure.
Alright, stuff is way too open, and I don't know why. I see the problem with the neck. Oh, I see where it's freaking open. Good lord. Alright, that's gonna be closed up. Alright, that arm needs to be completed. I will say, I've watched Panty and Stocking. I don't remember much of it. I really don't, other than the angels and devils forms and whatnot. But I don't remember much of Panty and Stocking either. It's been it's been a long time since I watched it. I need to fix the hair on this side.
They follow me, whispers in the wind. I made it through, I breathe, but shadows close
I don't mind that one being open.
echoes of the past, they won't let me go. Survivor's guilt, it lasts in the shadows. Every face I see reminds me of the fight. Their voices hauntingly in the silence of the night. Freedom feels alive.
It's so frustrating when I have so many gaps, but it's like, like I said, I'm not on my A game today. I'm definitely on my B game at best.
I still fear the night. I am a survivor, but these shadows cannot fade. Darkness, it's a fire in
do a small light gray instead of a white, pure white. That way I can work with it. Okay, that needs to be completed. I might as well do the eyes while I'm looking at this point.
Every face I see reminds me of the fight. Their voices hauntingly in the silence of the night. Freedom feels alive with chains that hold me tight. Trying not to cry, but I still fear the night.
Okay. We're gonna remove stuff that should be here, shouldn't be here. Bringing this over. She has black eyebrows. Okay. Let's see here. We want to do more of the hair, but I don't know if there's an opening. There is. Alright. Okay, we're gonna add stupid cape color. Jack. And I need to find where the opening is in the hand. I see it. Okay. I am going to try and lighten up the skin tone on Jack, because it does seem a little too dark for the character. Ah! Okay, his big bulky body I need to keep making. And drawing over here. It's like right here. But then it starts to shrink up. Ah. I won't lie, I'm dealing with some eye strain right now, so that's probably what's making this worse. Got a pounding headache from it, so I can tell the eye strain's working. Alright, I need her eyes color, which is icy blue.
I thought we had something real, something true. But you had a plan, got me feeling like a fool. You took my love, my trust, my everything, but now I see through your deceitful strings.
Okay, red for lipstick on Harley. So we're gonna go straight vibrant red. And I'm gonna borrow the tongue color I use for everybody else. Actually, yeah, let's undo that page, or that part. And what the hell? Alright, bring it over. Because he's got a big butt. So we'll kind of make his leg go that way. Continue that, and we'll put the remaining part of the leg right here. Stop it. Why am I making such a mess of this? Alright, we're definitely toning down the darkness of the skin. I need to do one line that should be there that I erased. And hit at outfit a little bit. And I'm gonna fix the finger up here because it looks too broken. Go in closer. Come on. There's not much shading to do. There is some shading on him, but Panty and Stocking are solid color. I can do the hair a little bit differently, but yeah, there's not much more to do physically to these characters. Because we're talking right before digital became a thing was when Cool World came out. Panty and Stocking is in digital, but it's no real, like I said, no shadow or anything to really use. She traded her broomstick for a college degree.
Now she's the sorceress of university. She's got potions in her backpack, books in her hand, conjuring formulas like nobody can. From the classroom to the lab, her powers
I have to take
ignite.
the glasses off to get close to see where the line was. Alright. Nope.
She's a witch with ambition, a heart full of fire, learning spells and potions as her sires aspire. With every incantation, she's breaking new ground.
Still open.
A witch on a journey in college she's found.
Two open. Still open on that one. Deck. Where the hell am I leaving? Damn little pieces. I should have done this differently, but I didn't.
Magic hands tremble as a spell has gone wild. My fingers twitch, power like a reckless child.
Dadgummit, come on! Stop freaking leaving out.
Theo tripping over his own 2 feet. His look so cute and ridiculous.
I don't even know what this line's from.
Sweet love potion, bubbling,
We'll fix it. Alright. Alright, move over to his chin.
Potions explode, shards fly past my face. Theo grinning with charm in this strange place. The hair a mess, their robes catch on fire.
So many times I've had these openings and I'm just not closing them.
You spark my desire, a love potion bubbling, stirring chaotic brew. My heart
Come on!
what my mind already knew. Oh, Theo, you're foolish, and yet I can't help but fall in love with you. Years pass, and here I make a stand and reach out to you to take
I'm gonna kind of do something different with the hair a little bit.
Weaving spells together, their small gleams so bright. I fall into a magical full spell in love under starlight. Laughing at their blunders, yet stayed through it all. My reluctant mage heart is falling as he is breaking my wall. Years stretch time, inches will rumbles on. Enchantments of love grow stronger, our fears long gone. Theo's power casting chaos in the air, and somehow now I can't help but care.
Bringing about the hair color a little bit more.
We interrupt this programming stream to bring you something from a dream. A pair of socks that talk and glow. And who's the guest? It's I,
pretty much done with the characters. It's just really, really awkward looking, but that's the way they are. Alright, I'll fade all the extra stuff. And we'll do some background work. Now, I think the only way to handle this is to do a quick urban environment background properly. So we're going to start with a black. And apparently it left some gaps in the teeth.
Is in a bind, 'cause I don't know's warped inside your mind. A blinking eye, a swirling haze.
Okay, then I'm going to grab.
Goodbye to normal days. I don't know's here to steal the stage with wisdom old and cosmic rays. She's got one eye but sees it all. From gossip queens to shopping malls. She's got a dance called the spinning stare. You twirled around like you just don't care. The news guy faints, the camera zoom. I don't know's voice just shakes the room.
Make that larger. Larger than that. Try to mimic the background that they had a little bit in the poster.
We met in a schoolyard, chased wild and free. Innocence was our bond, you and me. You were my summer star
Okay, go
in
a
the
little
night
lighter.
sky. Taught me to dream with no reasons why.
We carved our names in the old oak tree.
No.
Promised forever, just you and me. The laughter echoes in
Damn
the
it.
hallways of time. But life
Let's do it
pulled
this way.
us apart
Alright.
without reason or rhyme.
Childhood ghosts whisper through the trees. Memories dance on the soft summer breeze. Though miles apart are highways of time, but life pulled us apart without reason or rhyme. Childhood ghosts whisper through the trees. Memories dance on the soft summer breeze.
Yeah, they had a reddish background there. Let's do.
Our hearts still confide. Love like a river that won't be denied.
I see you in postcards and hear you in dreams. The pull of the past is stronger than it seems.
Tell you what I'm gonna do. Take a color back. I'm gonna move that onto another layer.
Story of the times we spent. Time's a thief but can't steal our song. In the heart's quiet corners we belong. Twilight hours, I still see your smile. Emotions that stretch for mile after mile. Childhood ghosts whisper through the trees. Memories dance on the soft summer breeze.
Okay. And I can do a little bit more probably, particularly with Panty. I do need to get the light yellow in her hair going. Oh, it is somewhere. And wrong tool. No, that's right tool.
Ghost whisper through the trees. Memories dance on the soft summer breeze. Though miles apart, our hearts still confide. Love like a river that won't be denied.
Okay. Now I'm gonna go over. Hold on.
New year, new me, that's the plan. Bought a gym membership, oh man. By February I'll have abs of steel, or maybe I'll discover how the couch feels. Making resolutions with a glass of wine. This year's gotta be better, here's the sign. Going vegan and learning to bake. Won't last a week, but I'm feeling great. Here's to a year that doesn't suck. Let's all pray for some good luck. A world so crazy, yet we care. It's a madhouse, but we're all there. Calendar flips, confetti flies. We toast to old madness in disguise. Upgrade my life with a single cheer, but it's the madhouse, but we're all there. Calendar flips, confetti flies.
Trying to snap my neck to get the
madness in
stiffness out of it.
Upgrade my life with a single cheer, but it's the same.
I mean,
just
oh,
a
yeah,
different
page
year.
I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's
Realities hit and I stay
trying to communicate two different styles and at the same time keep it authentic so it's recognizable is a bit difficult.
Here's to a year that doesn't suck. Toast together for some
I would love to do shading on Panty, but she really doesn't have shading in her character. So I'm leaving her without shade, but Jack did have some shade, so we're gonna do that. And I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, it wasn't gonna take us long to do this one. So we're actually only have a 3-hour stream, and it's probably for good because my eyes are strained and my head's pounding. So as always, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week, and a wonderful year. Go out there and be the best you that you can be. We'll be back tomorrow with Fallout 76. We're going to be playing on a private server. Never really played the game. It's pretty much going to be typical like Fallout, but a little bit more gathering, testing, whatever to do. So we'll figure it out as we go. But I thank everybody for joining in tonight, and I hope you all enjoy the evening. Good night, everybody.
Lights go down streams and thanks for time we spend. Laughs and smiles all through night. With you, it feels just right. Signing off. Don't forget like, comment, some. Signing off. Ring the bell and show some love. Good vibes, shared a fun ride. With you, I'm filled with pride.